Hello everyone, my name is Ayush Sharma and I am back again with a new episode in Skysecure series. In the last episode, we learned about the devices, how an MDE administrator can manage the devices, how it appears. Okay, and in this episode, we will learn how it can perform the relevance of the device. It can identify the scope of it using tags and exclusions. Tags and exclusions are two critical features of MDE for managing the device scope and relevance. Not all devices discovered in your environment need the same level of security attention. Some appears briefly in the environment, like for a small period of time, and some we want to keep them out of scope for vulnerability management. To perform this activity, we will use tags and exclusions. I'll give you a quick examples where we can use tags and where we can use exclusion. For example, let's assume we have a set of devices which we are aware are the permanent sandbox. Then we want to exclude those devices from the vulnerability management. So this is the exclusion. Let's assume we have a set of devices which we know are going to be decommissioned. Then we want to exclude those devices. We will use the device exclusion. Now let's see if we have a device which appears briefly in the environment. It connects and disconnects very frequently. Then MDE itself has a feature of transient tagging, which we are going to discuss in this episode in detail. That tag will be applied to that device, and after that tag, it will be automatically removed from the device inventory. That device is still connected to the network, but in our device inventory, it will not be visible. Now we will see how transient tagging works. Transient tagging we can understand in 4 major points. The first one is automatic detection. MDE has an internal algorithm which automatically identifies the devices which can be tagged with transient tagging by the information of their network appearance pattern, how frequently they are visible in the network. So it automatically identifies the devices. Second is excluded device types. There are few device types which will never get the transient tagging by MDE. For example, servers, printers, industrial devices, smart facility appliances, etc. Default filtering. If you will go to the device inventory, transient devices will be automatically filtered out. So it is default filtering out from the inventory. And the last one is no manual override. It means manually we cannot tag or untag a devices for transient tagging. We understood the transient tagging. Now we will take a look of the device exclusion. We can manually perform the device exclusion, unlike of the transient tagging. We can identify a device, and if we feel this device should be excluded from the vulnerability management reports, from the secure score and the exposure score, then we can perform the exclusion of that device. Unlike to the transient tagging, excluded devices will still be available into the inventory. As a fact, when we perform the device exclusion, it doesn't remove the device from your environment or your network. It just removes the device from the vulnerability management visibility. Hence, it still remains connected to the network. It is still a risk for the environment. We can perform device exclusion on single device or more than one device. When we perform the device exclusion, MDE gives us 5 options as justification. Now, those 5 options are inactive device, duplicate device, device does not exist, out of scope, and others. To summarize today's discussion about tags and exclusion, I'll give you a one-liner which will help you to understand what exactly tags and exclusion will do. Tags will help you to identify and remove the device from your inventory. For example, transient tagging a feature of MD, and even manual tags. In device exclusion, if you will exclude a device, that device will remain in the inventory but will be removed from the vulnerability management, exposure, and secure score reports. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more such videos.